So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to you. We are the co-founders of this game. And those of you who know about us or who don't know our story, I was at a Dr. Joe retreat in Mallorca, and we were doing a walking meditation. And during the walking meditation, a lot of mystical things happen because you're in the you're in the energy of the future. And a lot of people get downloads, they get healed, they get visions. And I was in this, I was walking around and I literally heard a voice saying, "You're going to design a game." And I was like, "Oh, wow." And I spoke about it with one of the friends that I was with. And he said, "Well, this sounds like something you should do." And I tried to basically create the game from my head, and I got completely stuck. And so basically I didn't get anywhere. But what I did know was that I was going to design a game and the right time would come. So I just surrendered. And then suddenly, Ellen was also on that retreat. And a little bit later on, a few months later on, I had the download and they said, you're going to work with Ellen. And I was like, I don't know Ellen that much. I don't even know her skill set. And I have a headhunting background. So I headhunt for, big CEOs, CFO, COO. So all I do is check out your background. All I do is actually understand what your skill set is. But with this download, I just thought, okay, this is nothing to do with her skill set. This is something to do with, we need to work together. And I discussed it with Ellen and she just said, it feels right. So we basically started collaborating together, first organizing events, and it was really, really fun. But then later on, we started getting more and more downloads, and Ellen and I started having a lot of synchronicities happen that made us believe that we were psychic. Literally, we would have things like we couldn't find a report, like we were trying to find out the science of raising your vibration. We wanted to understand how appreciation was scientifically measured to do something with your brain, heart and brain coherence. We couldn't find a report because basically whatever we were Googling, we couldn't find it. And we only found reports about gratitude, but gratitude is not appreciation according to Abraham. And so, but suddenly I would get a download and it said, go to HeartMath Institute. And literally, even though I couldn't read much, I literally found the report called The Appreciative Heart with all the signs that Ellen and I were looking for. Ellen and I have had so many synchronicities where, especially in the beginning when we started working, where I would meet her and I would say something to her. I would say like, we have to watch this movie. And then she would say to me, oh my God, just yesterday I was thinking about that movie all day. And this is like a movie that like literally she doesn't even know the movie, and I haven't thought of the movie like for like 2 or 3 years. And so we were so extremely guided by something else that we sort of really understood this is not about us. This game is given to us because we need to co-create it and we need to bring it to the world. And so Ellen and I are still super analytical. We're geeks, we love studying books, we are very analytical. But Ellen and I have also found out that if we try and create things from our mind, our brain freezes, right, Ellen?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's painful. Like if we try to create something like a sales page or the contents of a new program, it doesn't happen. It's like my brain is like, I don't know, I'm a super intelligent person. I've read so many books, but it doesn't come. And so literally we have to wait. We always have to wait until the contents come from the next game. And this game, Ellen, can you tell a little bit about how the synchronicity started to unravel about this specific theme? Do you remember?
No.
It started with you. It started with you drawing a card, remember?
Oh yeah, during the last game. There's a 7 a.m. meditation every morning that Angelique runs, and a lot of anyone can join this, by the way. So if you're interested, you can join that. But so every morning at 7 a.m. But sometimes my daughter, I have a 4-year-old daughter, she wakes up, and then this time I was doing a cacao ceremony with her while listening to the meditation, and drew a card, and the card was about being limitless and having all possibilities. And it was also exactly about what was being, so it's not only meditation, it's also like a mastermind every morning. So there's a lot of material that we're going through during the 7 a.m. meditation. And then it like was linked perfectly to that day's topic.
And not only that, what then happened was that we were in another game run by our friends and a power couple, Boyan and Nicole. Some of you might know them. And they basically gave us a list of 100 things that we thought were impossible to write. We had to write it down. And so basically, while I was writing it down, there were a few things that I didn't believe, and actually they came true within one day or so. And Ellen had a few things coming true, including her manifesting a dress through me. Literally, she said, people gave me clothes or summer dresses, and I ordered a lot of dresses, and I'm size 12, yeah, just 12, sometimes 10, but start stretching it. And I found a beautiful dress in my order of size 8, and I was like, why would I ever order a beautiful dress size 8? There is just no way I could fit in it. And the only thing I could think of is like, this dress is for Ellen. And then I sent it to her in a picture, and she said, I put on my list of 100 impossible things that people give me summer dresses. And it's literally, it was that bizarre. But then also what happened was that day, I don't know why, I have a mailing list. I've been on a mailing list of a friend of mine called Lion Goodman for a long, long time. And suddenly I felt I had to read one of his mails. Like, I don't know why. I just never ever opened his mail, but I opened it. And that day, that specific day, the email said, consider all possibilities and consider infinite possibilities. And it was talking about this woman in the Alice in Wonderland. And I don't really know Alice in Wonderland. There's a queen that has, like, every day before breakfast, she thinks about 6 things that are impossible. So that was what his article was about. And that was just like synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. And on the day that I posted it on Facebook, on that day, my Facebook memory had a post of me a few years before that was talking about all possibilities and that we were limitless. And I was like, okay, we are getting a lot of signs that this is our new theme. And Ellen and I are just very intuitive. We said, oh, infinite possibilities, or blah. And it just felt like it has to be, I am all possibilities. And so this theme is a very big one because we work with what we call the law of vibration. And when you work with the law of vibration as the primary law, you're going to see that law of attraction is not so much about what you think you want or what you wish for or what you put in a vision board or what you meditate on or visualize. Law of vibration gives you who you are. And so this identity piece of actually who do you think you are or who do you think you're not? And how do we identify ourselves? How do we box ourselves in? How do we let programs define who we are? This is the whole month's game. And we cannot actually tell you what's going to come up the games after that because we're waiting for downloads, right? But I can tell you that Ellen and I are always divinely guided. And I literally sometimes Ellen is like asking, does it come yet? Did it come yet? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just waiting. You know, I just have to like distract myself because if I try to figure it out, it doesn't come. So literally this month's game is really very much about how we box ourselves in, but also all our inner chatter, our inner talk. I mean, if you would like, you know, I don't know about you, but if I would look at my, you know, if I would look at my own stuff, you know, I can tell you that my inner chatter is really toxic and really painful. So this is just a few highlights of what we're going to do in the next month's game. But yeah, Ellen, would you like to take these few things, what we're going to go through today?
Yeah, so we're going to show you one testimonial that we haven't shown you yet for the people who have been last Sunday. We're at the testimonial call. A brief outline of the upcoming game. So this is a little taster workshop for what we're going to be covering. And the bonus is the Law of Vibration Book Club, which is also starting soon. I think it's been on our minds for a long time. I think people have been waiting for it. We've been asked dozens of times, when's it coming? But it was like, there's something missing, and I think we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have an app that we're using, but
the app is getting better and better.
Yeah. So the basics of the appreciation game is really important to know. So we repeat this, I think, every call we're on, because we always think everyone understands, but then we realize that even advanced players sometimes forget that this is actually the basics of the game. So this has to be reminded consistently. So if it's annoying, I'm sorry, but we have to say this. So we appreciate 30 times a day. And how do we do this? We log our set point. Set point is our emotional feeling, and we go by the David Hawkins scale of consciousness. Angelique is going to talk about the David Hawkins scale of consciousness a little bit in this slide. And of course, we're always talking about it. So you'll get acquainted with this more and more when you start playing the game. And then you log your set point after. Why do you need to log your set point before and after? Because after a month, if you play with us for a month, you will be able to look back and see, oh, this is how much I've grown. So you're being the scientist in your life. And you can see actually how you've grown and see maybe the tangible results you've been having thanks to your raised vibration. So why would you do something? And yeah, it's just way more important to know, because otherwise we just sort of act like it's normal, and it's really easy to fall back into old programs because you don't really acknowledge how far you've come. So we ask you to post once a day in the group. This is because we have amazing group energy. We create this beautiful morphogenetic field, and everyone's in there, and everyone posts once a day, and a lot of people respond on each other's posts because it's just so inspiring. But this is also for us to keep track of you. Like, we can't really track how much you appreciate until the app will allow us to see that. We're setting it in the app so that people use the app and we can see that you posted 3 times a day. So that will be the accountability in the future. But for now, it's us seeing you post in the group.
I'll just show it so that people actually see what it looks like. So this is the platform. So this is the current game. So you can see, if you go to the table of contents, you see that we have every week, every day, we have the accountability. Okay. So we have all our recordings. I don't know, it's not going there. So we have all the recordings here. I don't know why it's not going. It's stuck.
Oh yeah. Well, you go to table of contents, and then you can see the weeks and the days. They're split in between week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then all the 7 days. And then you can see the daily task.
Yeah, this is not.
And under that, you comment. So under that specific day, day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, under the day, your specific day, you post, so that we can see that's the day and that's when you posted. Yeah. So this is
day 6. Sometimes you have videos, and this is optional. So this is really not what the game is
daily
about.
task is optional.
These are optional, and a lot of the players that play with us, they love these optional games, because actually every week we teach a new teaching, which is around the theme. So this month is going to be identity, and how we limit our identity, and the ways we can get out of the way. And so you have to post there once a day, so that we know that you are actually engaged, and also that you are you know, that you're also reading other people's posts, because a lot of the stuff is around the group energy and about you inspiring others and others being inspired by you. And I think really, actually, once you get in the game and you start reading the posts of other people, how they are dealing with the assignments that we give them, which are optional, you can really see that people share so much about their own journey, that is where actually people get the real belonging and also the inspiration. So that is really, it's like one of the best things to read every day, because people have so much to share. And you know, some people just share 1 sentence, some people just share 3 sentences, others post like videos and like essays. So everybody's different. But what is beautiful is that those that share, they really, you can see that they somehow get a lot of results, and that there is something going on in their mind. You see people changing, and you see yourself changing. And first week you see people changing, second week you see people changing, and third week you see them like, wow, they're actually very different people. So it's
fourth week we're a family.
Yeah. And so it's like, so in the beginning you have a lot of people that are new and a lot of people that are like know each other, and then suddenly they start intermingling, and because you're reading each other's posts, you start to understand somebody. You see what type of issues they're struggling with. So it could, for one, it could be work, another one it could be children, another one it could be, you know, their own thoughts, another one it could be their business. And so, but you also see how they start manifesting things. And so that is really, really the fun thing about what we do. So yeah, Alan, can you say a little bit about how important the 7 toxic ways of thinking and being is? I mean, you don't have to go in depth, but really this is the opposite of appreciation.
Yeah, we won't go in depth now, but we do recommend everyone become really acquainted with these 7 toxic ways of thinking and being, because everyone has them or has experienced them in some way. And a lot of them are actually sort of, shaping your life almost, because a lot of our responses to anything that happens in our life will respond in one of the 7 toxic ways of thinking. So devaluing, victimization and blame, comparing, competing, time warping, generalization, catastrophic thinking, and urgency. And the more you become acquainted with them, the more you're going to start realizing. And there's various ways. I think this is what we really covered in the first week, right, Angelique?
Yeah.
The first week is, because we really want you to get this in the beginning so that you catch yourself, because our players also say that this is a big game changer, and they actually catch themselves now before they go into that, so they can like see the switch go off in their brain and be like, I'm going to catastrophic thinking, I'm about to create the worst case scenario, and we're all about best case scenario. I'm going to the worst case scenario. I'm creating this whole story in my head, even though it didn't even happen yet. And like all of these have a similar it's just your mind creating something else. And
and so really we'll also explain what happens when we appreciate. So that is in week 1 teaching, is really understand the signs of appreciation. And those of you who are here for the 4th time, some of you still, what we're finding, that every time you listen to the signs of appreciation and really what the science says, but also what Abraham Hicks is teaching, you really start to understand how amazing and important appreciation is, and what happens when you do not appreciate and what happens when you do appreciate. So there's actually a huge difference between appreciation and not appreciation, because according to the science, appreciation creates heart and brain coherence. And because appreciation is not gratitude. Appreciation is you increase the value of something. So that could even be something that's very difficult for you to, to even look at or to even accept. But you, instead of looking at it in a negative way or devaluing it, you're appreciating it. And according to all the laws, to all the laws, because of this law of vibration, the way you look at something will determine the outcome of something. So when you start to appreciate everything in life, everything will give you the best outcome, because that is how you're creating meaning in a way that appreciates that event or that person or whatever circumstance you find yourself in. And we see this also happening in the lives of our players. Like very often when they're in the game and things happen that are very difficult, like they have a setback or they have something happen that they don't want to have happened, and then they start to share, they first go into like catastrophic thinking or worrying and blaming and victimization, and then suddenly they remember, oh, what, I'm going to appreciate whatever happened here, I'm going to focus on the best outcome. And suddenly you see things turning around. Like literally people have manifested big bills, and then suddenly they manifested on the same day, like getting a huge amount of money that would cover the bill. Things like that would happen with our players, and it's like really mysterious. Like we were like, whoa, so this is why also we want you to read the posts of other people, because we also don't know what's going to happen when you start manifesting. Because Abraham Hicks says, if there's only one skill you need to master, then it's appreciation. And this has boggled my mind for many years, because I know so many Abraham Hicks processes, and I have manifested quite a lot of stuff with Abraham Hicks processes, including moving to a new country, including living in a house that everybody said you cannot afford it, including an ideal boyfriend, soulmate boyfriends. Like I would create these things with the Abraham Hicks processes. But Abraham Hicks says, when you only master this one skill, which is appreciation, in 30 days, you will not recognize your life. And which is what's happening in our game, right, Ella? It's actually really true. But they also say after 6 months, you will not even recognize yourself. And I think literally we can see the players in the 3rd game, which is they've been in the game for maybe like 12 weeks, they really start to see that they are a different person. And the people who are in the game for a long time, they look at each other and they say, wow, you've changed. Well, we literally even have people that are in the game for like 21 days and they've changed Like they're different people. So I think this is really about us understanding that transformation can sometimes be very easy, but because it's so simple, our mind is like, really, really? And I think this is the thing, right? This is like why Ellen and I, when we started this, we started with a pilot because we didn't really understand it. We just weren't sure. We were like, let's test this idea. And so we had 40 people in a Facebook group, and everybody was appreciating random things, but everybody started feeling amazing, and it was really interesting. Yeah. But then when Ellen and I started collaborating, we thought we should offer more, because we're gonna, and then I downloaded that we had to work with the 7 toxic ways of thinking. And guess what? The 7 toxic ways of thinking are always how we think normally, and it's the opposite of appreciation. And so Abraham Hicks says, when you're analyzing, you are not appreciating. And you know what? I found that to be true. Every time we're analyzing a situation, we're trying to figure it out, we're using our mind, and our mind is not appreciative. Our mind actually really wants to, is focusing on problems. It's not in a receptive mode of the guidance of source. So what you will also learn when you join us is you will learn a lot about how the mind works. And this is really based on the teachings of many schools that I've been to, and many of the books that Ellen and I are now reading and finding. You know, we're guided to download certain books, to study certain books, and to really understand how the mind works. So actually the mind is something that's really in our way. And the most important thing that we can do is to go into heart and brain coherence, to actually really receive what we call the non-local intuition and guidance from source, or from the field. And this is actually how you can live. This is when you actually quiet your mind and you do not try and solve things with the analytical mind, because normally if you would look at the analytical mind, if you don't have the solution in there, it means you cannot find it in your mind, because your mind is just a recording machine. If you haven't had the input in your mind, you will not have the solution there. And the only way that you can actually be receptive to the solution is to become a vibrational match to the solution. And you do that by the simple act of appreciation, the simple act by getting out of the analytical mind. And those of you who have mastered meditation, you probably will know how to do it. And, you know, some of you are theta healers, you might also know how to do it. But actually you might still, during the times that you are, you might still have a lot of habits in terms of trying to figure out things. You know, I definitely still have it, but this is really, while you're playing with us, you will actually really understand how life can be so much easier when you get out of the analytical mind. And that has everything to do with what we call the receptive mode. And the receptive mode is something that is going to be very critical in this game, because there's 2 receptive modes. And according to Abraham, you're either receiving blocks of thoughts from source, which is the quantum field or infinite field, where all the solutions already are, all infinite possibilities are there, or you're under the influence of mass consciousness. And mass consciousness is still living in survival. And mass consciousness is still like focused on the problems, is still in trying to like figure things out and not getting anywhere. And so really, this is really, in this game, you know, we are going to try and help people to get really in heart and brain coherence as much as possible, to do a simple act of appreciation. And we're going to inspire you to really understand that actually you need to now listen to the thoughts that are in your mind as to, is it coming from the quantum field, which is this guidance from source or my inner being, or is this guidance, is this just a block of thought from the mass consciousness, which we call pendulums. So mass consciousness has a lot of thoughts there. And we are actually, when we're a vibrational match to the fear in the mass consciousness, to the worry, the shame, the guilt, the low self-esteem, the competition, the, you know, the anxiety, whatever, you know, scarcity consciousness, we are going to be receiving the blocks of thought from mass consciousness. And this is something that a lot of our players, once they understand this, they stop tuning out of it. So we need to understand, when we're hooked in to these mass consciousness thoughts, we are suffering. We are really clueless. And so this is why I think this game is going to be a game changer, because there's going to be so much of this game that is really going to be like mind, you know, going to be a game changer. So this is one of our players. This was her 2nd month, and she is amazing. She will tell you what her benefits were of being in the game.
Hi, this will be my first recorded testimony, so I hope it will work out fine. Yeah, so I was asked to tell you a little bit about what was my greatest outcome from this game. And for me, the greatest outcome is just to know myself much better, to realize when I am in this toxic ways of thinking, if I am in victimhood, if I am in my saboteur, or if I let myself be caught up in old stuff, old stories, old programs. And so now I can really much better just get aware. Sometimes I'm aware, I can't change it yet. Sometimes I'm aware and can transform it through theta healing, through Ho'oponopono, through releasing therapy or whatever. So this is just amazing. And for me, the most important part of the game is that Angelique and Ellen, they are really committed. So everyone in the group is very committed too. And this really helped me to stay focused on what I want in life, and not, if I would do the game on my own without having to write something down, I would easily go into my saboteur saying, oh, not today, you don't have time, or I don't feel well, so I don't do it. So this is just amazing because with the game, you just commit, and as I said, Ellen and Angelique, they are so committed that all the players are very committed too, and the community is really open, so everyone is really just telling their story with so much authenticity, or how do you say it in English? Yeah, from the heart, without any mask. So we are really us, and this is a real huge gift you can give yourself, to just jump into it. This is now my second game. The first game was quite a challenge because there was much new stuff for me to integrate. Now the second one is already much easier because there are a lot of teachers that I have already heard, and I integrated some of the teachings, so now it really gets easier and easier. And so I suppose the third game will even be more easy. So this is really, yeah. Go ahead and jump in. It's really worth it.
So the game starts Thursday, tomorrow night. Can you talk a little bit about the vibrational match, Ellen?
So if there's something that you desire and it's not coming to you, it always means the same thing. You're not a vibrational match to your desire. You attract what you are, not what you want or anything. So that's why we're raising our vibration in the game, because that's when you get the raised vibration stuff in your life.
And so this is really a very simple chart about what we're working with. So we're always looking at the vibration, and the vibration is dependent on your identity and your personality. And your identity, I feel, is something different from personality, because your personality is basically how you really are thinking, feeling, and acting, which determines your state of being. But your identity could be slightly different, so we take them apart. And so what we do is we really teach you, let me go into, yeah, so basically that's what we work with. If you look at what we offer, Ellen, can you explain what we offer?
So the big thing is that we hold you accountable to do the work. So we get you to post once a day so that we can keep track if you're posting, because sometimes people, not very many, but there's a couple people that don't really post. And we've noticed that then you don't get results, and then you're like, oh, the game doesn't work. Well, if you don't do the work, then the game doesn't work. So that's why we want you to do the work, because otherwise we don't want to play with you, because then it's not fun. We want to have fun. It's a game for a reason, because we want to have fun together and we want to grow. So we have daily teachings and inspiration. This is optional because it's a lot and it's very overwhelming, and you'll always have access to this game, so you can always like come back and watch, like go through like, hey, what did I do in week 2 or whatever, and look it up. And also just use your own intuition and be like, oh, this today I really don't feel like doing an assignment, so I'm not going to do it. Or you just glance over and you're like, I don't think I need to do this one today. But sometimes, yeah, a lot of people really want to do them all, but that's why they're optional, because we don't want you to wear yourself out. The most important thing is appreciate 3 times a day and be active in the group, because that's where you'll get the most gold. Really seeing everyone like shifting, and whenever one person starts manifesting something, other people start manifesting the same things. So like that's the thing to keep your eye out for, because that's where the gold really is. So focus on that. And then we have 2 weekly teleclasses. One is always on Thursday night. That's always the kickoff for the new week. So that's tomorrow, 9 p.m. CET, always the same day, same time. The bonus classes vary a little bit in time throughout the week, but that's where we have like teachings and stuff of various things, and group energy work, and sometimes guest teachers come. We have so many cool guest teachers in our lives now that we just really are so eager to share with you. They're geniuses in their own field. And then, of course, what I just said about with the posting is the group entanglement. That's why we really ask you to also not only just post, just be like, just not like only just get it done. Of course, some days you just need to get it done. Just need to show us that you did it. But also other days when you have the time, post on other people's comments and just post from your heart. And even if it's like something negative or something, you're like, oh, I don't want to share this because I don't want to bring the energy down. Actually, you'll see that like 3 people are going to be like, oh my God, I had that too today. Or, oh my God, I've been there. Like, this is what I did. And this is how I shifted. And then you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, that's where the gold is again. Yeah, so these are types of energy work we've done. So we go over Akashic Records and clear beliefs, past, present, future, releasing and meditations, tackle energy work, so group intentions, and yeah, the guest teachers. Experiential learning.
So the bonus classes are optional, but most people love them because what we know about transformation is that, you know, sometimes when you do this type of work, appreciation is a way of really understanding that a lot of your predominant thoughts are actually, they are derived from the 7 toxic ways of thinking. So it's a huge habit you're shifting. And as we're shifting the habit, we're also shifting identity. We're shifting like core things that we have identified with. And sometimes a lot of emotions come up. So once we give you the bonus classes, we're actually teaching you energetic tools from different schools that Ellen and I have attended. And what we notice is that people really, they use the tools. Like, you know, a lot of people attend the 7 a.m. Meditation, and there is more like a mastermind. We do a lot of Ho'oponopono, we do a lot of meditations, we work with the blessing of the energy centers meditations, we work with you know, other teachers that have meditations. We do a lot of Abraham Hicks, but lately we're also, you know, looking into EFT, release technique, you know, I'm going to be trained in theta healing. So, you know, I do constellations. So there's a lot of energy work that we do as a group that also really helps people. What we're trying to do is to give you as many tools as possible to get transformation, to make your life easier. Because life can be, you know, life can be pretty challenging sometimes with all the energy going on in the collective. So those of you will probably not know this chart, but some of you might know the chart after this, which is this is the one from Abraham Hicks. And so this is about the law of vibration. Abraham Hicks, their teaching is that you have to climb up the emotional scale. So as long as you're climbing up the emotional scale, you are going to go to a higher vibration. So you can imagine that you're in fear and grief. They say, if you go from fear and grief and you go to revenge, you're actually making progress, right? So don't despair when you go from fear and grief to the revenge. Think, oh, I'm so negative. No, you're actually gaining traction. And then when you go from revenge to doubt, that's already even better than being here in worry. And if you go from doubt to pessimism or boredom, that's already better again. So what they're teaching is that we need to see our emotions as guidance from source. This is a very important teaching that we're really going to work with, because this is actually the so-called step 3 of Abraham Hicks teachings. What they mean, what they mean by that is that when you ask, it is given. So when you want something, it is already created in the field of infinite possibilities. But step 3 is you have to allow it in, and to allow it in, we need to climb this ladder of emotions day by day, moment by moment. And the way we do that is we use a lot of the processes that Abraham Hicks give you, and these are the optional assignments. And actually what you see in our group is people use the optional assignments because they are going to help you get more results. So what Abraham Hicks says is, whenever you're here in the more, let's say, downward spiral of the emotions, it's actually your inner being, which is your higher self, telling you that what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and who you are being right now is not the full version of you. So I'm going to give you an example. Imagine that this is who you think you are. Yeah, this is who you think you are. It's a tissue, meaning because there's a lot of like drama, a lot of tears, a lot of struggle, a lot of effort. This is who you think you are, and you keep on creating life, doing the same thing, and we call it insanity. You keep on doing the same thing, but you do not get results. Actually, what Abraham Hicks teaches is, you are not this, you are this. You are source. Whenever you ask something, this part of you, your higher self, or your expanded self, your source part, knows that it exists already. Whatever your desire is, it exists already. Whoever you want to be, you already exist on that plane. And everything that we need to do in this game, and in the games that we're designing, is to close the gap. Imagine that this part of you doesn't even have a clue that this exists. What we're teaching you here in this game is that you need to face towards this part of you, instead of facing there where all the drama is, where all the problems are, like, right? There are no solutions over there. We want you to face over here and to close the gap, meaning you have to start listening to the emotional guidance of this part of you. Your emotions, what you see here in the chart, they are actually the messages from this part of you, the broader part of you, telling you, imagine that you're in jealousy, or you're in revenge, or discouragement, or anger, or blame. It's actually saying, this part of you is like, I don't agree with you. Turn to me. I actually know that you can do everything. I know that you're worthy. I know that whatever you want, it is already done. It's a done deal. But this is so hard because a lot of us are trained in conditioning, in neural networks that are in this body, right? So what we're trying to do in this game is to first make you aware that this part of you is more real, although you don't see it, but this part of you is trying to talk to you. And through the emotions you're feeling day by day, you can actually understand where you are. And what we do is we give you processes to actually, for you to get closer to this part, so that at one point, these two are one. And you're always facing the solution. There's an issue, there's a question, you know the answer, because this part of you, super psychic, super tuned in, tapped in, turned on, is an allower. This part isn't guilt ridden, isn't feeling shame, isn't like wallowing in lack of self-worth. That's this part. That's the so-called human part of us. And so we do not want to devalue this part. We just want this part to get the support and the guidance of this part. And so very often this part of us is doing the 7 toxic ways of thinking, and we think that that's who we are, right? This part loves us unconditionally. So really this is what we're doing in the game. But the way that we work with it is we actually work with this scale of consciousness, because this is the David Hawkins scale of consciousness. This is scientifically proven, and it has been documented in many, many books. And what you can do with it is actually is a really good model for you to understand where you are. What they have found in what we have found in the Appreciative Heart, a scientific report that we found, is that actually when you are above 200, you start manifesting beneficial outcomes. The problem is that a lot of us in the areas of our lives where we're stuck, we are going to be here. And when you are employing subconsciously, even without knowing, the 7 toxic ways of thinking, which is the opposite of appreciation in any area of your life, you're going to be manifesting results that are not beneficial, because you're here. You're under what we call 200. How do you pass over to above 200? That is what we call courage. And when we are in courage, we take responsibility. Whenever we're under 200, we are not taking responsibility. And when we're not taking responsibility, things are painful, because then we are blaming somebody else. We make other people, life, governments, you know, our astrology, our karma, you know, our parents, you know, a society. You know, we go into a lot of justifications why certain things aren't working out in our lives, but it's never us. And when we are in pride, this is, I think, the most hidden one. You're doing your work, you're very spiritual, you're like, you know, you're investing in a lot of stuff, but you have a superiority feeling towards other people. So you're still not coming from love. So everything, and what happens then is people who are in pride, especially spiritual pride, they're always trying to fix people. They're always trying to save people, not understanding that these other people are also infinite beings. And so what we have understood with the David Hawkins skill is that the more people climb up the consciousness scale, the more they start manifesting, the more that they, especially when they go to unconditional love, which is then by that time they have done forgiveness, they have forgiven themselves and a lot of people, they have started trusting life. So you understand, this is quite a journey. But what we do in the game is that we find that when people appreciate 3 times a day, very often they start the day maybe here, or they start, you know, in the regions of here. But when they do 68 seconds of appreciation, they actually move up to here, at least to courage. And that is where their life and the areas of their life start turning around. So this is why it's so important. This is now really, this is what we've seen with our players. And this is also what Abraham Hicks was and HeartMath Institute are telling us. So I want us to look at, yeah, so what we want you to know is that we very often teach you about which are the thoughts are you thinking. Because you could be thinking a really catastrophic thought, and that means you're under here. And the catastrophic thought causes you to feel horrible emotions, and then you have negative outcomes. What we try to do here is we try to go through appreciation. So you start to feel appreciation as an emotion, and as a consequence, because the emotion is so high of appreciation, you definitely start thinking better thoughts, and then you will see that life starts turning around, like relatively easily. And so what we want you to do is to really look at what is it that you want to achieve? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then we want, you to use the desired manifestation to hook that up to the type of energy that you would feel if you had the manifestation. And then, this is really what we're going to really help you to master, so that you do not do what we call here, which is, this is really where people are not manifesting, because they are looking at what they have already manifested, and what they already manifested starts informing what they believe is possible. So instead of all possibilities, they just think of limited possibilities or no possibilities. And then what is happening in the reality then creates their energy, and they keep on creating the same reality. And so what we want you to do is to break out of this matrix of the 5 senses, thinking that this quantum potential is real. We want you to really understand that you are a creator, but to be a creator, you have to know that all infinite possibilities exist as a quantum potential, but then to actually call that into material reality, you need to use that desired outcome to inform your energy and your identity. So this is where we're going to really do a little thing tonight. So going back to what we do here is the first week we really work a lot with identity. So we're going to teach you, to get out of the victim program, because a lot of people feel like victims. So they let circumstances define who they think they are. And that leads to, really limiting beliefs about who they are. And they also do not identify with like source. They basically have all these programs running. Imagine that you have all these programs running that are about, you know, that are based on your reality. We need to identify, we need to start facing this one. Otherwise, we are never going to amount to much manifestation. And also this part feels like a human being. This part knows it's a creator. So we really need to start thinking different thoughts and feeling differently about who we think we are. So the identity piece is the really big overarching piece of what we're going to do in the next game. And but then we are going to tackle also the specific beliefs and feelings by really helping you to look at different energy tools so that you can shift your energy relatively quickly. So so what we're also going to do is we already said, you know, we're also going to teach you how to understand which thoughts are coming from mass consciousness, what we call pendulums. They're very often lower consciousness thoughts, and which thoughts are coming from intuition or guidance, and how do you start to embody a new potential even before it's there. So I want us to think, you know, I think we want to do a little exercise here. So I want you to think of a goal that you have. Maybe think of a goal that is very big for you and write down the goal. And I want you to then think about what are the core thoughts you have about this goal. Like, are these thoughts like, you know, is it like, oh, it's hard, oh, I've tried it, oh, I don't feel confident. And what are your predominant feelings? Because once you've written these down, you can actually look at the David Hawkins scale and you can easily see where your level of consciousness is. And what we can tell you is that if you do not shift your level of consciousness, you are not going to have the goal. And the thing is, we need to be so aware that, you know, a lot of the things that we have in our life, they're very accurate in terms of vibration. So if we do not have the money, we can actually look at our David Hawkins consciousness scale and we can see that we are basically not really feeling worthy, or we're feeling that this goal is too big for us, or we're not as big as the goal. And so the whole thing is like, this is why we are going to work with identity so much, because everything that we do is based on what we feel here. What we need you to do is we need you to start identifying with this one, because these are the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza, the neuroscience teachings about epigenetics and neuroplasticity. You know, all of the new teachings are about, we need to evolve this one into here. We cannot stay here and think we are going to achieve these big goals. This whole game that we play in life is about transformation. It is about, you know, the death of this part of us, or transformation, or transmutation, whatever you want to call it. But this identity has to sort of die. It has to sort of be reborn so that this can come to the fore. And so this is why we need to know where you are, and we really give, you know, really people start catching themselves, thinking certain beliefs about their goals, and thinking, actually, if I have a certain thought about my goal here, what is actually my identity or program? What do I believe I am? And who do I need to be? What is my new identity? If I know I'm source, because I'm listening to Abraham Hicks 2,000 times a day or 2,000 times a month, but am I actually doing the work? In the appreciation game, we invite you to do the work. Not just listen to Abraham Hicks, not just go and buy another course or do another book or go to another retreat and feel high and then come back into your life and think, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, I need to go to another retreat. We want you to do the work while you're in your life. And this is why this the accountability is so important, and the community is so important, because people are doing the retreat while they're in their own life. And so imagine that new identity is this part of you that really thinks very positively about any goal you set. But most of all, if the goal is in alignment with who you really are, because this part of us sets a lot of ego goals, you know, and we're not saying don't think about money, don't think about luxury, because I think Source wants us to have everything. Source wants to experience human life through us, yeah? So Source is not saying don't be greedy, you don't want that much money, oh, give all your money away. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that this part of us is really so limited in what we think is possible, that this game is really about us breaking the habit of thinking that we're this and start rooting our body and our thinking and our listening to what we really are thinking from this perspective. This is what we're going to do in this game. And so this is a huge game changer. And I can tell you, we have found a lot of amazing material to really start to embrace all possibilities from many different angles. We have meditations for you. We have different teachers come and help you do clearings in the bonus classes. And so we're very, very excited. How about you, Ellen?
I'm very excited too, yes. It's always so much fun, and I feel like every game it becomes, it's always different, and it's more high energy. And like at the start of every game, like the energy is even higher than the last game. It's like yeah, I'm always very excited. Yes, it's so much fun to play, and I just love all the players so much. So I just I love supporting all the players. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And the whole being in a retreat in your own life thing is so powerful, because I think a lot of us have been on retreats and then you go back and then you fall into your old patterns, but now you're being triggered in every area that you're normally triggered in, work, relationships, and I don't know what other areas like politics and stuff, but now you can just practice it while you're in your life with the support throughout the week.
So we have a lot of things that we can help you do, but what we're going to help you do is to really see what programs you're running. So very often we're running victim and saboteur programs, or I'm a loser, I'm a failure. And the new identity is the new, you know, this is the program you're running, and the new identity is completely different. So we need to get tuned in. We need to get accustomed to this new identity. And we need to go to a chronic new habits of self-honoring, self-appreciation, self-worth, self-esteem. And these are things we need to do every day. And these are things that we need to do moment by moment, because we so often fall back into what Dr. Joe calls the program. We go unconscious. We go unconscious many, many times in the day. And we don't even know how to get ourselves out of it. That's why we give the bonus classes to help you with energy tools. And so when you look at the David Hawkins scale, you can see at which level you're running a program, and then how do we need to stop doing that, and how do we clear the triggers. So we do that with the energy tools that we teach you. So there's a lot of stuff that we could handle, but we want to talk a bit about some of the alignment skills that we also that we might also give you. It depends on what downloads we get. But one of the alignment skills is vision. So in order to get in contact with this part of us is the infinite self. This part of us has lived many, many lives, is very supernatural, very, in tune with the natural laws, the universal laws. This part of us believes in things before it materializes, because this part of us is in the invisible world. So in order to create something, we need to see it before it happens. We need to give energy, focus, and attention to a new reality, a new quantum potential before it happens. So this is an alignment skill. Another alignment skill is one of the biggest things that people don't honor, which is they always talk about reality the way it is. We need to teach you to tell it the way you want it to be. And this is very difficult, because people, when they tell it the way they want it to be, they think, I'm lying, I'm making it up. But actually, you keep on telling the story as it is, you keep on vibrating here, and you're never going to be at the manifestation. You're never going to vibrate at this level, which is this part of you vibrates, I have it already. And that's when things start flowing into their life in manifestation. And so another part is do alignment work before anything. Most of the time people are doing, you're busy, busy, busy. They're running a program. I need to be busy. I need to do this. I need to do that. Actually, when you would start tuning into this part of you, so you got closer to this part of you and you start listening to the guidance of this one, you are going to see that actually you do one thing, or you just listen to the intuition or the guidance or a download, as we call it, and you're going to be so much more successful. You're going to just do things that are going to fall into your lap. And that is really how life is. Instead of focusing on problems, this one is focusing on problems, always looking there. We need to start focusing here, right? We're here, we might still be here, but we need to start focusing here, and we need to start looking and solutions. We need to vibrate the solution, vibrate the answer. We need to give thanks before it happens. We need to feel wealthy before we're wealthy. We need to feel successful, vibrate success before the successful manifestation show up. Another very important part is the embodiment and all the different tools we give you week by week by week. So we focus very often on one process a week so that you really master the process. Last game, we had 2 processes. So one of the processes was Book of Positive Aspects, which everybody loved. And another one was choosing better feeling thoughts. Instead of being stuck in toxic thoughts that are really painful, we said, well, this part of you is running programs of mass consciousness, thinking thoughts that are very painful. This part of you wants you to choose better feeling thoughts, because source is always optimistic, always looking forward as to how can we create the next best thing. And source wants you to feel good. So source, your source self is always giving you better feeling thoughts. So we need to listen to this and start having thoughts that feel better. So this is a skill that in our players were practicing for a whole week. And I think that the ones that are going to continue the game, and almost all our players are continuing the game, they're going to practice it more and more so that it becomes like a new unconscious habit. So yeah, this is just some of the alignment skills that we teach you. What actually I think the most important thing that will happen is you will actually start to see your victim and saboteur running your life. And once you catch it, once you know how it operates, you're going to decide to be the creator and the victor. And so we give a lot of, this is why every day we give you some additional teaching, so that you actually really, while you're in the game, you start to understand, I'm not doing this anymore. Instead of the toxic ways of thinking, there 3 times a day appreciation, or more times a day. You could do it 10 times a day, you could do it 8 times a day, whatever you want. We'll show you the app. It really helps you really feel so much better and be so much more in flow with your life. So this is just like, and you have the accountability so that you don't do it by yourself and then you give up, because you don't have time or whatever. So really what we're doing is, we're giving you a lot of tools so that you are not just knowing it, because most of us know this stuff already. It's about doing it. So you're going to have daily repetition. You're going to have new beliefs and new teachings. You're going to create new neural networks, because you have to do new things like appreciation, instead of going into the old neural network of toxic ways of thinking and worrying and blaming and victimization and catastrophic thinking. And because you're doing it daily, and you have to do it 3 times a day, and you have to post, and you have to read posts of other people, you're really inundating yourself with something completely new, which is the habit of appreciation, which raises your vibration instantaneously in 68 seconds. So, and once you do something repeatedly, you're going to cultivate new ways of being, because you have daily repetition, you have daily new knowledge, and you're taking new action every day. You're going to prune old neural networks of fear and excuses. And instead of being in old, in the old program, you're going to be in courage and creativity. And what will happen is daily, you're going to step in the unknown. Yeah, so can you tell a little bit about the 100 monkey effect, Ellen? Do you know about that?
Yeah, I know it a little bit, but I don't explain as well as you do. Yeah, I don't really know it that well. I know the phenomenon.
Yeah, so basically they found out that they found out that if there's a specific group of people or monkeys in this specific case, if there's a species and there's a new thing that is taught to the species, that after a certain critical mass has been achieved, suddenly this new behavior or new skill, it just jumps to other species of the group. So for instance, I think in the 100 monkey effect, they found out that a specific group of monkeys that was on an island, they were teaching them certain things. And then suddenly other monkeys on other islands that didn't know anything about these monkeys on this island, we're talking about, they didn't have WhatsApp, they didn't have YouTube, they weren't like traveling to each other. they knew nothing, but these other monkeys started cultivating these habits as well. And so, but you know, we also see this in quantum entanglement, really how when we're in a group, we basically, what we're doing as a group, we're creating a morphogenetic field with a specific intention and with a specific quality of consciousness, because we're appreciating every day. What happens is that the group level of consciousness starts to raise very high. And so that people who are maybe hovering a bit under, they can really, by doing a little bit of effort, they can easily slot in, you know, because through the law of resonance, they're just hooked in. It's easier for them to hook into this higher consciousness because that is the predominant vibration of our group. And so for instance, what, you know, Alan, can you explain to maybe what has been happening with some of the manifestations in sales, but also with family members and colleagues and neighbors? And I mean, it's like really bizarre. I need to turn on the light. Can you explain that?
So Angelique is talking about our group and having the 100th monkey effect in our group. So what I said at the beginning is that when one person starts to manifest things, other people start manifesting similar things or the same thing, but then in their lives. So one of them was that one person started manifesting a lot of clients, and then like the post that day were like multiple people saying, oh, I was manifesting more clients too. I got all these clients coming to me out of the blue. So it's like one person created like a map for the other people to be able to follow the same map. It's like there's almost like a print or something that's being created, and then for other people it's really easy to step into that footprint or something.
Dr. Who calls it a blueprint, like he calls it like some people are creating the new templates, right? Like the 4-minute mile. When Mr. Bannister broke this record, suddenly other people knew they could do it. Like, but actually it's a quantum field phenomena, because suddenly somebody did it and other people could just go into that level of consciousness and they could recreate it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also happened with some people in the group with their children just suddenly acting really amazingly and doing all this amazing stuff by themselves, even though the parents wanted them to do all these things and tried to make it happen. And we have this one video that we've been studying, listening to it every morning during the 7 a.m., which is about a woman who had 2 sons with a drug addiction or an addiction. And the sons, the only thing she did was send herself actually unconditional love and see them as the source that they are, but starting with herself rather than looking outward. And then they both, their drug addiction or their addictions were gone. I don't know what kind of addiction it was actually. And the same with a couple of our players in our group. They were trying to help their children, assist their children, get them to do certain things. Like, this is what I'm studying, you should do this too. And that of course doesn't work, because nobody wants to do something just because you want them to do it, especially teenagers. But and then they started focusing on themselves, these mothers. And then suddenly the sons or children are just suddenly doing all these things out of themselves and sending like letters of gratitude and thankfulness to their mom. It's just, really amazing to see.
Also, people struggling with neighbors or with colleagues, and they did what we recommended them to do, was the Book of Positive Aspects, because there are no victims in our game. We believe that everything is your creation, everything is part of your consciousness. And we have a lot of teachings to back that up as well. But what we see is that once people start to focus on the positive aspects of people that they work with, even though these people have never been nice, or, you know, this neighbor has never been nice. And what happens is, once people start doing the clearing work, or they do the Book of Positive Aspects on these people that then start turning into different people. Like, literally, we have so many testimonials of people just manifesting a new family, new children. I mean, they're still the same children, but they respond differently, because people stepped out of the box of victim. They stopped saying, my children are treating me like this, or my colleagues are treating me like this. We were showing them, because we're so consistent in the teachings, because we're just presenting the stuff that is in all the books. The thing is, you know the books, but you don't want to live it, right? When you're in the appreciation game, you see people applying the teachings, not just knowing it. They start changing themselves, because that's the only thing you can change. And then what happens is their world changes. And yeah, we've had people who were stuck with business. And even in the lockdown, we had people who couldn't get out of the house. They literally were personal trainers and photographers. And they were like, and some people, they had a rental objects, and all of them were making money because they started appreciating, and they had record months, some of them. Some of our players, you know, have really been struggling a lot with money in their businesses. And once they started getting into the game, they loved the community. They did all the work. They were always present in every class. Basically, what they started manifesting is like they started from going from zero to like 4-figure, 5-figure, sometimes 6-figure profits. That's what's been happening. And so, yeah, this is like, you know, it's hard to actually believe it unless you're in the game and you see people, and that's you're thinking, wow. I mean, for me and Ellen, it's like we are like so excited when we see manifestations happening, because it's almost like you guys are inspiring us, right, Ellen? So yeah,
it's the biggest for us.
yeah, because
oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And
yeah, and also see the shifts in people. Like you can see sometimes when they come in, they're really struggling, and they're talking about their past. They're really identified here. A lot of the time in the beginning, they're struggling, and then suddenly they start hooking up with this, and they're like, this part of me thinks differently about me and about my children and about my colleagues and about my business and about my dreams and about me. And I'm going to talk and think and feel the way this part of me feels, not this part. And then this part is like, oh, where am I? Oh, I think I'm going to go here. I want to be here in the vortex, in the fun, in the game of life, not so here in the problems of life, right? And so this is like really how our game works. And so week 1, we always start with identity, and identity, we always explain mass consciousness. We explain when are you tuned into mass consciousness, when are you hearing the blocks of thought from source, from this part of you. And we also look at the victim and saboteur, because actually the victim and saboteur are trance states, meaning you are in a trance. When you are in those 2 states, you think you're you, but it's not you. You're actually arguing for your own limitations. You don't even know you're in a toxic way of thinking. And so, you know, and the good thing is we have a guest teacher next week that is about the trance states that we're in when we're in suffering. And she's going to also lead a little bonus class, which she runs, you know, it's like 20 euros for her bonus class, where she teaches us faster EFT, where we get out of the trance of all these states that we get in. Week 2, we very often look at other people. Who are other people? How are we creating other people? Most of the time, we create a lot of suffering, blaming other people for treating us a certain way. But once we start looking at, you know, others are as our mirrors, we start to gain freedom. You know, we become free. Week 3, we're going to really look at what is reality. What do we think is reality? Reality is old quantum manifestations. In the power of now, we can actually create new quantum potentials. But to do that, we need to understand what reality is, what truth is, and what infinite possibilities are, and also what appearance is. And week 4, by the time we have week 4, we're going to repeat a lot of the stuff that we've been going through in week 1, week 2, and week 3. And then people are very often already more attuned to actually receiving the blocks of thoughts of this part and canceling out this part, really catching themselves when they go back to the programs that this one is running, and being more aligned with this, with the blocks of thought of this part of them. So yeah, I think we're done today. So maybe you can say a little bit about the price, Ellen.
Yeah, it's a monthly membership. Before we I added the link in the chat. Before it was you could pay per month and stuff like that. You can still pay per month, but it's a monthly membership because we know most people want to keep playing, and it's just easier for everyone this way. And the price is just really nice. And then when you sign up before the start of the game, you get 1 month of the Book and Movie Club for free. So even so people who have already played the game with us and have expected this, it's coming, we promise. So that's for free. Yeah, it's including VAT. So no additional VAT costs will come along with that. So it's $111 for you. And yeah, the link is in the chat. So if you're eager to start playing, click there. And we'll be happy to see you tomorrow. That's when the game starts, tomorrow at 9 p.m. CET.
So maybe people want to know about the accountability. So we basically said last month, we said you have to post so many times a day, otherwise we throw you out. But right now we feel that because lockdown is not, not on anymore, people are getting more and more busy. We want people to actually, we want you to, we want to give you 2 days a week that you don't have to post without being thrown out. So thrown out means you're going to go into a separate group, and in that separate group you'll have to do a task that you give us. Because the thing is, when you don't do this game, what we see is when people sign up for this game and they don't do it, is because they go back into the program. They let this run their life. And so they know everything about this, but they don't do it. And when you join our game, we want you to be successful. So we're going to tell you, you can not post two times a week. But then if you go, suddenly you increase that, you suddenly, we don't hear from you, we're going to get a warning. But then after that, you're going to be thrown out of the group. You're going to be in a separate group. And then you have to think about this part of your life. And then you can get back in the group when you've completed that assignment. So this is really for us to help you be successful. And I think people need that accountability, because without accountability, this just runs the show. Imagine your life being this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone can go now and play their own appreciation game, but we know people who've tried, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You don't have the group magic.
Yeah. I don't know whether there are any people here, like some of the people that are here are our actual players. Would you like to maybe share something about your comments? And you can unmute yourself if you want to share. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Is there any of the players that would like to share their experience?
Hi
Jazz. Hi,
Jazz. Yeah, I was just going to say to anyone who hasn't tried the game, it's something I'd definitely try, because it definitely gets you a result. Both these ladies are so good at what they do and the information they give. I always find both of them just provide so much value. If there's anything that we don't understand or need support, they're always very quick to reply to us and just guide us to whatever we're struggling with. Especially for me, I struggle to use the app, but these two ladies really gave me a lot of support, and it was actually quite easy. It was just an error on my laptop, but yeah, definitely give it a try, because you get a lot of value.
What were the things that you loved manifesting, and what did you change for yourself, Jazz?
So for me, it was just obviously my relationship with people changed. That was a good shift. Most importantly for me, it was becoming more aligned with myself.
And breaking some of the habits of the old you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. How could I forget that? Yeah, so just always teaching me off what my thoughts are and how I'm aware, and how we can slip into a victim mode, and how to come out of it when we're not aware we're actually doing it.
Yeah. How was it for you to see other people shifting so much? I mean, we've seen you shift. We heard about your manifestations. How was it for you to see other people shift? Did you see that? Because you're now...
Yeah, definitely, because we're working as a group, so we're all sort of entangled with each another, and it's so nice when you do see the shift in people. I mean, I know there was a player in the last game, I just really connected with him energy wise, and it was so nice just seeing how so quickly the shifts were just coming in. So yeah, it's really nice, and we all support each other, so that's nice.
Yeah, we love your manifestations, Jazz. You're so inspiring to us, like mind blown by your manifestation. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Victoria, I don't know whether you can talk, but Victoria is one of our players, and she's been like super on the game, and she's super excited. Can you share something maybe?
Hi everyone. Yes, I actually just got on game on a video literally a few minutes ago because I had clients. So hi. Yes, it's going to be my first game. I'm super excited. And the thing Fourth, yes. And the thing I wanted to share that the first game why I joined is because it was all about money. It was last year, right? So that's what got me. But I didn't realize how it's going to change every single area of my life. So even if somebody's like looking at the topic of the game, you have no idea how it's going to influence everything. Because for me, who knows me, Angelique definitely knows, for me, I was far from spiritual. I was all about physical thinking, money, you know, delete button, compassion, what's that word? So you name it. And
Victoria
so
was a goal-getter. She was like, Victoria was is a personal trainer, and she was very much, as she would say it, she was always very upset with her clients who weren't as switched on and as fanatical as she was, right? So you didn't have compassion. It was like, what is compassion? I'm trying to give you the results. Do it. Do it. You were quite forceful. Yeah. You had good intentions, but empathy wasn't your biggest thing, and acceptance, you didn't really accept other people as well.
Because I realized I wasn't accepting myself, because I was so strict with myself and constantly demanding more, and what really stand on the progress of my business. Because like I told you, I would create a product or create a service, and I would look at it and think, oh my God, it can be so much better. So I would delete it. And that's what got like, oh my God, it was like a vicious circle for 2 years. Because every time I do something, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Or I can do this better. Of course you can, but first just launch this first. And since I started doing this, oh my God, I didn't realize, I forgot how much people need what we do. And because especially what you do, when you do what you love, and you, Angelique and Ellen, you definitely go, you definitely do what you came here to do to this planet, because it's just amazing the downloads you have, and how you put the group together, and how you come up with all those videos and everything that just spot on every single time. And I think it's spot on for every person. And it's amazing how you create this group, because everyone who's in a group, they get 100% what they need every single time. And I don't know how you do it, but that's amazing. So yes.
So Victoria actually manifested in the first month, which was amazing, because she was telling us in one of her testimonials that before she was in the game, she just thought about money, and actually she was thinking about divorcing her husband every day.
Yes.
It was like fights every day. And then suddenly you started appreciating your husband, but although you were in a money game then, and actually saved your marriage. So you actually had a huge personality shift, because you started seeing what you were doing, right?
Yes.
And then also when lockdown came, you had a lot of inspiration, you had a lot of downloads, you realized that you were very intuitive, but you just never trusted your intuition. Actually, a lot of the people that are in our game, they start noticing they receive thoughts from this, but this part of them, the analytical mind, is like, I don't believe it. No, I'm going to look at other experts. Where are these other experts? We never look at this one. So Victoria and we here, Ellen and I, we will encourage you to listen to this, because this part of you knows who you should call, that one person you need to call, that one book you need to read, that one trip you need to make. This part of you has the answer, and you do not have to go to 1,000 experts or Google it or whatever. This part of you already knows it. So this is the thing. Once you start playing this game, you're gonna really understand the science of heart and brain coherence, and the science of alignment. And what we do here is nothing else than you just give you accountability, a platform, a community, and some optional fun assignments. And they're not even like, you don't even have to do them, but mostly just reading them and just taking them in, you will get the gist of it, and it will inspire you. So you're actually creating new neural networks, and you're going to shift day by day by day. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there somebody else that has a question or that would like to share maybe their experience? Feel free to unmute yourself. And otherwise, we're going to call it a day. So yeah, so we start tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We're going to have the kickoff class. And then when you join, you will be put in the group. You will be put in the group, and then in the group you will have on Friday, you will have your first accountability. And some people, as soon as they see the game, they immediately start posting. Some people post at the end of the day, some people post in the middle of the day, some people post, you know, in the morning. Depends on what you want to do. But I think when you read the post at the end of the day, you'll see what other people are posting, and it's really inspiring. And you know, we want you to achieve results, and so, you know, it's really about you actually really understanding the science of appreciation. It's really a science. It just sounds so simple and it sounds too good to be true. But once you're going to listen to the first class, you'll understand what appreciation is and why appreciation puts you in contact with this. Because this part of us is always appreciating everything because it knows it's very infinite. This part of us is always trapped in analytical and analysis. And when we're trapped in analysis, we are guessing, we are basically speculating. We're not listening to the guidance of this one. And so appreciation is just a hack. It's just a simple hack. But what we do is we teach you other concepts. We also have bonus classes where we teach you energy tools. And, you know, they're very simple energy tools that everybody ends up using. And that is really where we want you to succeed as much as possible, you know. Because I believe that most of you here are super sensitive. You're empaths probably. You're probably the only person in the family that does this type of crazy work. You're just like me. You know, everybody is like living a normal life and you're the one doing the transformation and you're the one being psychic and like really taking on a lot of the stuff for the family. And so we're going to give you these energy tools so that you can really, you know, really start to have a more easy way with your life. It's very important for us. Ellen, I don't think we have more players. Do you think we should show them the app or?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, let me show the app. So I have the app open already. So it's not this one. Okay, it's not here. Okay, so this is what the app looks like. So you can see in my app, you see here time series. You've seen how many days I've been appreciating. You can see how it fluctuates, how my mood fluctuates. And so it's good for you to see how your mood fluctuates. You can see what type of emotions, where I'm more in certain emotions. This is going to change anyways. You can also see where I'm very strong, which emotions I have in abundance. We also have a list of manifestations right now because we thought it would be amazing to see the types of manifestations we have. So I haven't been looking at all of, you know, doing that very beautiful, but it's a very beautiful way to keep track of your manifestations. So we start with actually looking at your pre-appreciation mood. So that could be courage, or it could be, let's say, it could be desire. Desire in the David Hawkins scale means you want something, but you don't believe you can have it. This is when you want something, but you have it stuck, you know, you have a knot in your stomach and your stomach is like, oh, I don't think I can have it. Oh my God, it's too hard. I've never been able to do it. It's for other people, not for me. When you're in desire, so you log that and you can think of, for instance, you have a business goal. So yeah, then we go next. And then it asks you to write down for 68 seconds your thoughts. You have to appreciate for 68 seconds minimum. I am so appreciative that all that when I ask, it is given. I know that it already happened in the vortex. All I need to do is appreciate the unfolding of this new desire. I appreciate I am source individualized and source divine wants me to live this desire. I am worthy because I am a child of God and I love the path to manifestation. I think we're already after. Most of the time I write much more. So if you try to end before 68 seconds, it won't work. So now you can see after writing for 68 seconds, I feel much better already. So instead of being a desire, which is under 200, which is I can't have it, I feel so much more better. So by that time, I probably already feel more like courage, which is above 200. And then we click on next. So right now, I think there's an error. Maybe that's something to do with me. And you can go to your time series and you should see that it was there. So there's an error here on my computer. And we've already given it to our app developer, but you can download this on your phone, and but I like to do it on my computer. So that is the app. So does anybody have questions? I've not been able to look at the chats.
I already answered the ones we had in the chat.
Okay, okay. So if there's nothing else, then yeah, we look forward to seeing you in the game, you know. Let me see. Yeah, this is really what it looks like. So we're going to have a new game. And those of you who have been playing with us, you know, every time we have new material, it's like every time we have a new theme, and every theme is so expansive that we just can't really explain, you know, we can't really tell what we're going to teach. And, you know, we just go with the flow. We just allow ourselves to be guided. So we let go control in a way. So so Ellen, the book, the Law of Vibration Study Club, we are going to read this book called Akashic Records Made Easy. We're creating a sales page for that and a webinar just to explain what it is. That is more like a mastermind. That is going to be our low threshold product and club. It's a membership. So really what we're going to do there is we're going to create a public forum, and every week we read 2 chapters and we watch a movie per month or a video, and people can share all their insights and mastermind contents in the specific chapters of that week. So the book, The Akashic Records, is really about the quantum field of potential. So it's really about consciousness and how the past and the future and the present are affecting each other, and how we can shift this this information in the quantum field so that we can get, so that we are less burdened by, you know, the trauma and you know, the burdens of the past. So Ellen and I have really been enjoying reading the book. We've been super fascinated by it. And so we think that in this era of awakening, where we understand that everything is consciousness, understanding the Akashic Records and working with it is really important. So that's why we're going to study that book first. So keep an eye on our announcements. If you are subscribed to Conscious World Club, the Facebook page, make sure you get into the group Conscious World Club attendees, because that's a small group and we just basically post a lot of announcements there. You can also come here to this network in this group, and then you'll be in the more generic part. You'll be in the part where it's free. And when you join the game, you're going to be in the secret part of the game, which is here in games.
I just shared the link in the chat to go to the free part of the appreciation game.
Yeah, so the free part of
to play a game, but
the free part of the appreciation game is more like generic stuff that we can share. The other non-free part is where people share all their daily accountability. So that is much more private, of course, because, you know, people are really sharing a lot because they're involved in the game. So that was it. Anything else?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for being here. It's been a long night. We look forward to having you with us. Yeah, and this weekend we actually have probably we have a guest teacher. We will announce it once he's confirmed. If it's not a guest teacher, it will be me teaching something amazing. Okay. Okay. Lots of love.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of love.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.